I'm going to call to order the August Board of Trustees meeting for the Kingston Public Library. I apologize for the delayed response. It is 6:20. In attendance, we have trustees Emily Bruce, Lee Lewis, Matthew Donahue, Jen Quackenbush, Emily Curtin, and Library Director Donald Colon. We're going to start tonight's meeting with minutes approval. The July minutes were sent out. Did anyone have any edits or changes to those minutes? Not seeing any, I'll take a motion to accept them as presented.
I move we accept the minutes of July meeting as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Summer reading recap.
Okay, so summer reading, the children's summer reading and teen summer reading ended last week. We had the Kona ice truck here for folks to enjoy. It was a quite active summer reading. However, I will say that statistically we are down over last year, and as far as checkouts, which you'll see on the monthly statistical reports. So I do believe that that is one of the issues that was a result of the parking situation that we faced all summer, and we definitely will be working on the strategies to address that for next summer, but obviously before that. I've already spoken to facilities to have signs made. I've spoken to the police chief about enforcement. So we'll be collaborating to get a policy together about that. So summer reading, was well. I myself did some trivia nights, game nights. We had all sorts of, programs for children's, teens, and adults. So we look forward to seeing what September and the fall and winter program brings us.
Thank you. Next up is the library website, and this one actually, after it was on the agenda, I just decided to cruise by the new library website, which Donald has been talking about. And when I was on there, I almost had a heart attack because the policies were old. They were older policies, and they didn't have the updated policies that we've worked on. Donald and I have worked on a few together, and then there were a few in the years prior to that. But it looks like if you look at the website that the last time that some of the policies were looked at were 2015, which is not the case. So Donald actually let me know what happened with that. So
so I've collaborated with the town clerk, COA director, and a member from the Board of Health office to work on the redesign for the town website. And in the process, that affects the library's header page, which is basically a sub website within the website. And so while the town's website, kind of got the T's crossed and I's dotted, when we got the library one, we had a web page that had multiple services duplicated for buttons. Currently, if you go to the page, you'll see that there are pictures from the Reed Building versus the library. I didn't have the authority to change those. I have now been given the authority, but the access to the photos I have are the ones that the town sent, not the ones that I sent. So I have to find out what's going on with that. So there were a lot of hiccups with the launch. So obviously, as Emily mentioned, there are some continued work that needs to go on it. And basically what it is that a lot of the pages, once we update it, change a page, it is technically cached. And so pages being grabbed, historically, and not necessarily the current one. I mean, when we got the page, there was actually links that were on the homepage that were not on the existing homepage. And then some of our streaming services, which have been always on our homepage, were not listed on our homepage. So there was more to be done, and it will be, and as we go internally, meaning all the links within our website, we'll probably be finding other corrections that need to be made as well. So this was really a fresh look, not necessarily a change in content or anything like that.
A fresh look and a time travel back.
Yes. Yes. So there's some, there are some challenges there.
Well, thank you. I felt less panicked once you said that we can pull the current in, because it's also quoting from our old strategic plan, not current strategic plan.
Do we know why this happened or how this happened, or is there anything more we need to know about? How we.
It's just-
Spend time?
It's basically just the manual, the grabs, like that is, that the company that, the focus obviously was on the town website and getting the data over. So for us, and we have unique things, so while there's a calendar with this particular service, we use a third-party calendar service because it also provides museum pass registrations and program sign up registrations through the calendar and stuff. So we have nuances that the town doesn't. So I mean, like if you go to the library's webpage now, you'll see that the calendar on the bottom, like it's on the bottom of the page, the full calendar, and it's huge. But as the vendor would tell you, we would much rather the calendar vendor, Assabet, they would much rather that the calendar was linked out to their page versus embedded in the website itself. However, the website's company, Civic Plus, wants the calendar embedded in the website. So,
But it's just an odd dynamic because
Yeah.
the town has already absorbed the library website into their website. And
Yeah.
now we're doing things like embedding these
Yeah,
other calendars. So it's just a lot of layers, but I mean, we kind of want
Yeah,
that website.
I mean, the town website needed to be updated.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it happened, but I'm just sorry for this fallout though. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. So
it
at least it's fixable.
We'll get us up to
absolutely,
speed.
absolutely. It is definitely fixable and just simple changes, nothing earth shattering, thankfully. Yeah.
So then the next item is the ARIS report.
Okay, so I've completed the ARIS report and it has been sent. It is the annual report that we send into the state, where it's their opportunity to collect data about the library as far as, staff salaries, the number of positions, how many books we physically have in each collection, how many DVDs we have, all sorts of different formats that we have, as well as the financial, I'm sorry, the statistical, part of it in the sense of physical holdings. The holdings and the circulation, so those numbers, submitted to them. And then there's another report that will be coming up, which is the financial report, which is the one where taking what the town has given us and any funding from outside sources, such as the foundation or any grants that we pay to buy materials or anything like that, that will be the next report to make sure that we're meeting the requirement of 16% of our budget being spent on materials, and that the library's budget from the town is, where it needs to be in the sense of being the average of 3 years times 2.5%. And so as long as it falls within those criteria, we're good. So that will be later on this summer, actually early fall. So the ARIS report has been submitted. Emily came in and signed the form, and that has been sent off to the state. And normally if there's an issue that or some things was missing, they would reach back out to us and, say something, immediately, but there wasn't any communication from them. So we should be all set with that aspect of it.
Great, thank you. Any further questions about the reporting? The next item is the positions update.
Okay. All right. So positions update. So we currently have 2 vacancies at the library. One is the teen emerging technology librarian position, as well as a part-time library technician position. The library tech position has not yet been posted. I am waiting from the human resources to post the position. Once they give me the okay, I'll be able to, send it to the Mass Board of Library Commissioners, the library job listing posts. However, that can't be done until they get the approval to me to be able to do that. They will post. Sure.
Are they posting it internally first and then?
No, so what they're doing is they posted it because it is a union position. So what they do is they post them internally and externally at the same time. And then, but they can't review the external candidates until after 5 days. So that would allow, the first 5 days would be for internal candidates, which in a sense, having a union person, obviously seniority comes into play. So even if there was a non-existing employee that had skills that we'd be interested in, obviously an existing employee would have seniority and most likely would be eligible for that position, if it was a promotion or what have you. Being that it is at the same grade as all the other kind of town admins within the union, it could be, we may not see any internal candidates at all. Because obviously the pay would, still be the same to some capacity or even less. So most likely it will be an external candidate. But the position can't be advertised until, I get the okay from HR. And once that is done, then obviously we will, shield post it to Indeed and a couple other, municipal websites, and I post it to the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. And then the other position, the Teen Emerging Technology position, as I mentioned in my director's report, I've conducted 7 interviews for candidates, and with varied skill sets. We do have one candidate that we are, first of all, let me just say, we are still doing rolling applications. So if another application comes in, later tonight or tomorrow, whatever, we're still reviewing them. So there is one candidate that was selected for a second interview, and I will be meeting with them tomorrow afternoon to discuss, some of the essentials of the position that may not have been covered during the first interview. So that has been, an ongoing process, and that has been something that's taken up a lot of my time, is meeting and interviewing with folks. We had a very diverse group of skill sets. So some were quite, tech savvy, less library, customer service, and vice versa. So I'm just taking the strengths and the weaknesses and seeing what we can do.
Just out of curiosity, the first round interviews, do they take place at the townhouse and then the second round takes place here, or is it just wherever you're able to meet?
So what I actually did was, due to the parking situation over the summer, what I did was, if we had morning or mid early afternoons, we did meet at the townhouse in the first floor meeting room to allow, because why put the stress of trying to find a parking spot, on the candidate. So we did, so I did those interviews there, and then the others I did at the Adams Center. So like for the 4 p.m., 5 p.m. ones, those were done at the Adams Center.
Thank you. Any other questions about those?
So it sounds like right now there's one candidate moving forward to a second interview.
Correct.
But the position's still open, so more applications come in.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Not to pick your brain too much, but this is just a curiosity question. Are any of the other extant applicants being considered or able to be considered for second interviews down the line? Or is that not really on the radar at the moment?
It is absolutely something on the radar. It is about basically looking at the applicants, seeing what skills and education levels they have, and seeing where things, kind of fall. Obviously, there are some things that are, trainable. For example, like with the library tech position, for example, this is going to be somebody who will, be checking out books. And obviously the system, the ILS we use is a proprietary system that, it's not like Microsoft that you might have at home. So obviously that is something that we know that if this person doesn't have, that they're going to have to be trained on. So it is kind of seeing, where people kind of fall. It is a case of, and there were some people that I did have stronger candidates that withdrew because they were offered other positions. We did get a lot of folks that were a distance away, that had applied, and
Like
those
within New England or really far?
there's a combination. So I have somebody from New Jersey, someone from Colorado, someone from New York.
Which, I mean, I suppose they're entitled to apply, but it's just not the first locations I would think of. Right?
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like when I look at those positions, for example, they have roots here. So that's the thing. It's like somebody who moved away for school or whatever, and they set roots. So I wouldn't hold it against them. I mean, So yeah, so things are still open, obviously, having a second interview does not necessarily mean that an applicant is a shoo-in. It's just, trying to get more of the questions answered, and seeing, how they align with our needs.
Great, thank you. The next item on the agenda is calendar, which I realized is vague because we're talking about, wait, is this the calendar for library or is it the calendar? It's the calendar for the trustees meetings moving forward, because we have to block off at least 6 months of trustees meetings in advance. We still have, I think we have through November already determined, but we need to move further than that. So I saw you writing down, Donald.
I'm going to pass these to you so I can go get some water.
Okay. So I
see
believe,
December.
do you have December's? So that's my negligence because I didn't have December on my calendar.
December 15th.
Oh, I didn't have it on mine either, so.
I have that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, December 15th, which is the first day of Hanukkah. So is that going to be a problem for anyone?
Mhm.
No. So then I guess we're starting in January.
Mhm. So if we were to keep the same schedule, the third Monday in January is MLK Day.
Right, this is where almost immediately we have to start. tweaking the
Yeah, that's
schedule.
what I figured.
Donald has the 26th as a potential day, and that's fine with me if it works for everyone else.
I'm gonna be out of town at a conference, but I could miss the meeting, and if that's okay with you.
Yes.
That appears to work for me.
I mean, I know it's impossible to know what is going to be going
Yeah.
on in your lives, but let's just say for now, that will be the night of the trustee meeting. So September 15th, the 20th of October, the 17th of November, the 15th of December, the 26th of January, due to MLK Day being the 3rd Monday. And then it is 2/23, so the 23rd of February. And the beginning of vacation too, because is that vacation week?
The one before it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this way at least.
Yeah.
Right when you get back from vacation, you can look forward to a trustee meeting.
23rd February, yep.
That starts so late. Is that my vacation? I'm curious now. It doesn't change anything, but I'm just.
Then the next would be March 16th.
Mhm.
And then 4/27.
That's actually better for me then, yeah.
April vacation's in there somewhere, but we are avoiding it by making it the 27th. I realize not everyone here cares or is on a school schedule, but some of us are.
No, we know it. I think it's in the calendar. For sure. It's like, let's plan an event on the middle of school vacation, so nobody will come. So now I get it.
May 18th.
Which is that going to be the last meeting before the next election?
I don't know.
So I don't know when the next town or annual town election is. If that has any different.
So that it's June is the first meeting with the new people, right? Yes, I think so. So, yes, that would be maybe. And then 6:15. Which we may already be out of school.
Oh,
7:20. And I realize these vacation possibility dates, we're putting them on there, but things might get shifted or people might not be available or have to zoom in. They're all Mondays at 6 p.m. And then 8:17.
That's fine.
Well, it's kind of hard to like say, oh, that's not good unless you. And then 9:21,
Oh, my. Keep going.
which is Yom
Yom
Kippur.
Kippur.
So is
Yeah.
that a problem for anyone? All right, Donald, while you're getting a drink of water, we just set the calendar for the next.
God,
It's the one that you laid out right there. Great, thank you. So beyond that is the standard director's report.
Okay, all right. So it appears that during my previous discussions, I, touched upon a lot of the items in my director's report. So I will now touch upon the ones that I didn't touch upon. So I met with Nick with the Kingston 300th Committee Historic Houses Tour Committee. And what we met with them to discuss was the use of the Adams Center as kind of home base for a historic homes tour that they are planning for next year. It's going to be on a Sunday. And so originally, they actually only wanted us to be there for an hour, but the ask was to have Nick create a slideshow of historic homes that weren't going to be part of this tour, because there's only, I think, like 4 or 5 homes that they're actually doing. So for him to do a slideshow as well as doing an exhibit. And so in talking to Nick, we've agreed that rather than, just be there for the 1 hour, the whole program actually goes from 11 to 4. Their expectation was that we would be there from 11 to 12. Then I negotiated with them 11 to 1. We're actually going to be there until 11 to 4 to allow the community members, to want to come and see the exhibit, and obviously we'll promote it, so for folks who aren't going to the historic home tour, that, to give them the opportunity to come. It also will give a great opportunity to see how a Sunday afternoon exhibit kind of library program, how that plays out. Since I've been here, I think we've only done one other one, which was a book panel that Steve had done with 3 authors on a Sunday, and we had a decent turnout for that. So it is kind of a test to see how that potentially could go. So we met with them. It was wonderful. They were very, pleased with what we were willing to do, and we kind of expanded upon more than what we were going to do with them. I have been working with IT and the accounting department to resolve an ongoing vendor issue. There was a security breach with the town's Amazon account, so we were no longer allowed to order from them. Then new security measures were put in, and with that, the library staff have not been able to access the account now that they've reestablished it, and basically you just log in with your email and a password, but that's not working. So we're working to, it's an ongoing issue because Amazon is like the vendor that we use for a lot of the programming supplies, items for book and treat, office, specialty office supplies and things that we're not finding at regular vendors and stuff like that. So it has become, a problem. And so I've been trying to, get that resolved. I have spoken at the last department head meeting. I spoke with the Streets, Trees and Parks interim Sean Turner to discuss the painting of directional arrows in the Green Street entrance. So it is supposed to happen. I don't believe it happened today. I didn't come in that way. But they did put up a do not enter sign. So when coming from Summer Street, the first entrance is actually going to be an outgoing only. The second will be in. And one of the reasons why it was set up for that way was that by going in the second way, it automatically creates like a yield versus when, this is all from observation of folks coming in, flying in from that first one, and then flying into the main parking lot where there's potential for accidents due to people immediately right there backing out. Whereas coming in that second one causes that delay so that there is hesitation so that people can, proceed with caution.
Yeah, I was thinking the other time, it's like, I wonder if the whole parking lot should just be a one-way, where you like enter from the back and have to exit the front. Because
That's something that that is something that the staff has said that has been talked about for years. It wasn't necessarily something, because my only concern with that is that, getting into conflict with neighbors about increased, traffic on the street. So potentially like this might be the solution for now.
Yes.
And then assess and see how things go. And then, potentially it may end up being that one
I
way.
feel like the parking lot's just one issue after another.
We're just gonna put a garage.
If we close up one of those sides, could we add more parking spaces? But not enough to make a.
If we build an underground garage.
Okay. Let's see. So facilities, they have been coming in, replacing a lot of the fixtures. So for example, the break room now has LED light fixtures, which has made the rooms much brighter. But hopefully that will help reduce the need for replacing them for the future. Also, I met with the facilities director to discuss the Adams Center. So one day last week, which was one of the hot days, the entry vestibule, hallway, stairwell, or what have you, was 102 degrees.
It's a nice.
And there isn't any air conditioning in that area there. And what that is doing is causing the first floor, the upstairs where the exhibits are and things, to get extremely hot as well. So we had the air conditioning set at 69 and it was in the 80s. So, obviously that is creating a problem. So I spoke to, facilities about it, and, we're going to be looking at, potential solutions. I had said that I looked at like some heat reflective tint that, a lot of skyscrapers, use or what have you, but it is pretty much reflective. So it's kind of walking up to a building that's all mirror. So we probably don't want that. But he did say that potentially getting some portable air conditioners or, having somebody come in and take a look to see what we can do for venting to try to address that situation. Because 102 is kind of toasty in there,
Yeah.
And that pretty much covers my report.
Any questions for Donald? In addition to Donald's report, the staff reports went out in that cool zip file. Yeah. New technology. Any issues with those questions or comments? Great. All right, not seeing any, we'll move on to Foundation and Friends update. So we don't have a representative here tonight, but as you've probably seen, the library is right around the corner. It is next month. Tickets are already on sale. In the past, I know trustees, myself included, have volunteered and helped out with the library. They haven't reached out about spots where they need extra hands or anything like that. But certainly, are they meeting this evening?
No,
Or
the
next
meeting
week?
next week.
Okay, so if they find in next week's meeting, they might come knocking, looking for.
I-
It is,
September 14th. It's a Sunday.
and it takes place, have you ever attended one in the past?
I
So
have
it
this
takes place
time.
in the parking lot we've been discussing. And it's been, I mean, they've both been great. Both
You've
of
done
them,
two?
this, yep, this
Because
is,
I went
this
to
will
the
be the
last one.
third.
Nothing. This is happening for the first time, but learning more about the ins and outs of what actually happens. So how does it work? Like what, multiple breweries, are they represented like?
They have, this is the
Craft
most breweries they've ever had. Actually, at one of these, I think that
Mhm.
I forget what the total number is, but it's more than they had the past two. They set up their tents in their areas. And they bring a sample. Oh, yeah, it's all on the, if you go to the foundations page, they've been introducing them in post by post, their sponsors and the breweries that will be at the event.
I think there's a Facebook event too.
Yep. So you can find it right on the foundation page, or you can find it through social media. Yeah.
So fun.
The last time I went back to my church. we just, like,
Yeah.
walked out there together. It was
Oh,
great.
yeah,
I
because
enjoyed it.
the people down the street usually do their. They do
In
something
the
like
past,
a
they have their
agriculture fair as well. Yes.
But they're actually doing theirs on the 21st.
Yeah, it's different this year, but I see the weather holds up. They've had great weather both years as well, so. But other than that, I think they're solely focused on that right now. So it's their big.
Yeah,
focus.
it's huge.
The next item on the agenda is payment of bills, and eventually we will have to pay for the bonding of the new treasurer. So that will probably be either at the September meeting or October meeting, or we just have to say that it occurred. Under old business, I'm actually gonna throw something out there. Did you ever hear from Eversource about any potential like judging of the?
No, so Eversource has been in, they've actually, so I had reached out to Keith, the town administrator, when the box appeared. And yes, it appeared.
I mean, I think the color's good, it camouflages fairly well, but it is right out in the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah. And so I had, mentioned to him about that, that the layout of it isn't really conducive to what they had presented, where it was going to be a case of that they either could wrap it so that they can Plymouth, they do a lot of like historical wraps around the things. They could do some type of fencing. We wanted arborvitae's, so that it was more of a natural,
Yeah.
kind of look. And absolutely, they could do that, what have you. But we're not exactly sure how. Basically, it looks like only two sides of it could actually have arborvitae's. The backside, which is what's facing our library, looks like three kind of vents, and it goes right to the edge of the parking lot. So obviously nothing can go behind there. And then obviously they can't put them in front of the doors that they need to open to access them. So there really isn't,
Could we paint it, like, have like a muralist paint something on it? Like a public art kind of thing? Is that even an option or?
well, it's a matter of finding out who the contact is, because that's been one of the issues, is that I think since this project started, which I think this October would be 3 years, when they came and said, we need to get this done now.
Yeah.
And we finally,
Yeah.
have seen progress with it. So there's been a lot of ball dropping as to, okay, we'll get somebody to talk to you about
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
At this
Nothing
point, I'm
happens.
happy it's not just like gray or like something that stands
Right,
out even more, at
right.
least when you look over there, it kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't know.
We should paint it so that when you look at it with the parking lot in the background, it's an optical illusion.
And some,
yes.
Oh, you're right, that's bad comment. Oh, boy, no.
So fine worthy, but.
you said the thing about like when they wrap things in Plymouth, I thought this could be like a cool, like,
Well, the thing is, when because they presented that, but when I've seen the boxes that they have, they weren't this style box. When it had the
That- yeah.
vents, like it has three, protruding vent things on the backside. So for me, I'm like, this, so basically it's gonna be pretty for the
Yeah.
neighbor across the street on that side.
Yeah.
But from our angle, it won't be anything.
Just curious.
Just another,
Any other old business? Not seeing any new business? All right, then I will take a motion to adjourn
I move that we adjourn
at 6:55.
at 6:50.
Great.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And we are officially adjourned.